A cattle dealer came to our house, and after thoroughly examining Rosette, all the time shaking his head and saying that she would not suit him at all, he could never sell her again, she had no milk, she made bad butter, he ended by saying that he would take her, but only out of kindness, because Mother Barberin was an honest good woman. Poor Rosette, as though she knew what was happening, refused to come out of the barn and began to bellow. "Go in at the back of her and chase her out," the man said to me, holding out a whip which he had carried hanging round his neck. "No, that he won't," cried Mother. Taking poor Rosette by the loins, she spoke to her softly. "There, my beauty, come along then." Rosette could not resist her, and then, when she got to the road, the man tied her up behind his cart and his horse trotted off, and she had to follow. We went back to the house, but for a long time we could hear her bellowing. No more milk, no butter. In the morning a piece of bread, at night some potatoes with salt. Shrove Tuesday happened to be a few days after we had sold the cow. The year before Mother Barberin had made a feast for me with pancakes and apple fritters, and I had eaten so many that she had beamed and laughed with pleasure. But now we had no Rosette to give us milk or butter, so there would be no Shrove Tuesday, I said to myself sadly. But Mother Barberin had a surprise for me. Although she was not in the habit of borrowing, she had asked for a cup of milk from one of the neighbors, a piece of butter from another, and when I got home about midday she was emptying the flour into a big earthenware bowl. "Oh," I said, going up to her, "flour?" "Why, yes," she said, smiling, "it's flour, my little Remy, beautiful flour. See what lovely flakes it makes." Just because I was so anxious to know what the flour was for, I did not dare ask. And besides, I did not want her to know that I remembered that it was Shrove Tuesday for fear she might feel unhappy. "What does one make with flour?" she asked, smiling at me. "Bread." "What else?" "Pap." "And what else?" "Why, I don't know. Yes, you know. Only as you are a good little boy, you don't dare say. You know that today is Pancake Day, and because you think we haven't any butter and milk you don't dare speak. Isn't that so, eh?" "Oh, Mother, I didn't mean that Pancake Day should be so bad after all for my little Remy. Look in that bin." I lifted up the lid quickly and saw some milk, butter, eggs, and 3 apples. "Give me the eggs," she said. "While I break them, you peel the apples." While I cut the apples into slices, she broke the eggs into the flour and began to beat the mixture, adding a little milk from time to time. When the paste was well beaten, she placed the big earthenware bowl on the warm cinders, for it was not until supper time that we were to have the pancakes and fritters. I must say frankly that it was a very long day, and more than once I lifted up the cloth that she had thrown over the bowl. "You'll make the paste cold," she cried, "and it won't rise well." But it was rising well, little bubbles were coming up on the top. And the eggs and milk were beginning to smell good. "Go and chop some wood," Mother Barberin said. "We need a good clear fire." At last the candle was lit. "Put the wood on the fire." She did not have to say this twice. I had been waiting impatiently to hear these words. Soon a bright flame leaped up the chimney, and the light from the fire lit up all the kitchen. Then Mother Barberin took down the frying pan from its hook and placed it on the fire. "Give me the butter." With the end of her knife, she slipped a piece as large as a nut into the pan, where it melted and spluttered. It was a long time since we had smelled that odor. How good that butter smelled! I was listening to it fizzing when I heard footsteps out in our yard. Whoever could be coming to disturb us at this hour? A neighbor, perhaps, to ask for some firewood. I couldn't think, for just at that moment Mother Barberin put her big wooden spoon into the bowl and was pouring a spoonful of the paste into the pan, and it was not the moment to let one's thoughts wander. Somebody knocked on the door with a stick, then it was flung open. "Who's there?" asked Mother Barberin. Without turning round, a man had come in. By the bright flame which lit him up, I could see that he carried a big stick in his hand. "So, you're having a feast here. Don't disturb yourselves," he said roughly. "Oh, Lord!" cried Mother Barberin, putting the frying pan quickly on the floor. "Is it you, Jerome?" Then, taking me by the arm, she dragged me towards the man who had stopped in the doorway. "Here's your father."